Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Liam, the Prove It Guy, author of Limitation Is A Mirage. In this podcast, I will be sharing with you actionable tips, routines, and insights that I have gathered over 20 years of extensive study with masters, experts, and world-class performers. My hope with this podcast is to save you time, money, and frustration, helping you fast-track your way to mastery. Welcome to this bonus episode of the Limitation Is A Mirage podcast. On this episode, I have the two guys from Strabanter, Ronan Boyle and Anthony Duffy. So what I didn't know about this is one is actually in Straban at the minute and the other one's in America. So they make comedy videos. They started off just close-knit in Straban, and then it just went viral. They're everywhere now. This one is going to be a bit unusual because I don't really have an opening because we just got talking and I hit record and we just kept going from there. So this is the opening now. We talk about superheroes, we talk about their creative, the way they get creative or how they get creative, how they deal with haters, how they deal with coming up with new content, the charity work that they do, the fight. We talk about martial arts quite a bit. It seems to be something that I do, that I connect myself with martial artists because it's just what I love about my life is martial arts, is one of the areas. And so I really hope you enjoy it. I had a blast doing it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or them. And thanks again for tuning in, and I'll chat to you again soon.
I've never agreed with that. It's like one of them old Bruce Lee films that they actually say, "Oh, my style's better than yours," Chinese boxing and all that. But actually, whenever you start doing karate or whenever you start doing whatever, there are people out there that has that ego that will tell you that karate's no good or jiu-jitsu's no good. I'm like, you know what, if it works for you, if that's because karate, you train a karate, right? Now I'm talking from a karate perspective, right? You train a karate, you train in a dojo with multiple people, but it's an individual thing. You're only going to get better by yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's an individual. Jiu-jitsu, you can't get better at it by yourself. You need another partner.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You need to have another person.
I would see the big picture. There's young fellas that sit on and play the Xbox all day long. If you have a young fella out doing karate, jiu-jitsu, boxing, anything that's active, that's good for the mental health, that's good for the physical body, get them out. I know what you're saying. Which is the best martial art fighting-wise?
I think, like, if you take Bruce Lee, we talked about Bruce Lee as an example. If Bruce Lee had started any art, like he started in Wing Chun, if he had started in karate, he would have been amazing at karate. He was going to be amazing at whatever he did. So it's the same thing.
Bricklayer. If he was going to be a brickie, he would
have been the best brickie ever to exist. So I think like what you're saying there about getting people out and about. I talk about this all the time. Like, you could be the greatest horse rider in the history of the world, but if you've never got a chance to ride a horse, you'll never know. So that's why you should try everything. So I think just getting people out and about, I think, is really important. I suppose I've already started recording because we were just chatting, so I'm just going to go into it. I'll introduce you now whilst we're here. So we got talking about martial arts because we all are martial artists in our own right. You're still doing a bit, Ronan, aren't you? I imagine, like.
Well, I did a bit of everything. That's what we were talking about. So I did a bit of karate.
You did real old school mixed martial arts. You went to.
Actually, the first MMA event that we competed in, it was like the old days where a boxer would have fought somebody that knew jiu-jitsu. So there was no when we trained, you had to go and do boxing and kickboxing on another night, and judo on another night, or wrestling. You know, there wasn't like a mixed martial arts as it is today, one sport where everybody does. You have to know all the best of every. They take the best out of every martial art and they make this fighter nowadays. Back then it was karate against jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu always did really well at the start against boxers and stuff. They didn't have a clue when they went to the ground. You know what I mean?
Aye. So they're not used to it. Even first time I ever sparred a boxer, I kicked him as hard as I could in the leg, and his wee face just went.
Aye. Well, there's an unbelievable video running around. You probably know about it, Duffy. It's world champion kickboxer against a world champion Muay Thai fighter. And the first round, the kickboxer is punching the head him. Then the leg kick started then. And the kickboxer just went, you know what, and it was embarrassing because it happened to me. I fought a guy, he's a world champion Muay Thai fighter from Poland. Fought him in the Millennium Forum in Derry for a title. And I'll tell you, hey, he started kicking my legs and I didn't prepare. I know boys run bottles up and down their shins and stuff. They
We had to do all that stuff.
trying to kill that nerve in your leg. And not only that, you need to know how to check a kick.
That's important.
I never learned how to check a kick, and I never ran a bottle up and down my leg. And he kicked the legs off me. It's on YouTube. You can go and watch it if you want. He wheeled the legs off me, and he was going for the headshot.
I've seen the kick.
His plan was keep kicking at the legs. Eventually, I'm going to be that sore that my hand will drop to block the kick rather than my leg ticket, and they'll get me in the chin. And he did it in the second round. Everybody thought I was out. And then I just got myself together, took him down. He had zero experience in ground fighting, so I did all right in that round then. But he got me at the end. He kicked me at the back of the neck. It was that quick. It's always the ones you don't see.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's people say, how did you not see that coming? You don't even know. I was wrestling the referee. Come round.
Did you at least beat him?
That's when you know you're truly out. Is when you start wrestling the referee. The man tried to save you.
And then when the referee said it was over, I was arguing my point. That's not fair at all. me wrestling him like. So I'll tell you what I did after that. That was at my last MMA fight. I moved swiftly to kickboxing, and I moved swiftly to kicking above the waist only. And I ended up winning an Irish title doing that. It was just normal kickboxing.
See, you fought in the Millennium Forum. I have an experience in the Millennium Forum as well as a martial artist, but it was in a play called West Side Story. I even had to put on fake tan and everything. My sister was auditioning for a play, and I went up to take her there because she was young. And when I was standing there, the woman was like, "Are you auditioning too?" And I was like, "No." She was, "Why don't you audition and jump in?" And I was like, "All right, well, if nothing else to be at, I may as well." And I had to she asked me for an American accent. You're in America at the minute, Duffy. You can tell me what it's like. So she told me to do my American accent, and it sounded like this. This is my American accent. She's like, "Not very good. Could you do a Puerto Rican one?" I was like, "Yeah, Puerto Rican. This is my Puerto Rican accent." She's like, "But you could dance." So I ended up in the Millennium Forum in fake tan, prancing around. I think I was a shark or a jet. A shark probably, because jets sound American. No idea, but pretty much the same. Just as manly as you were in the Millennium Forum, I suppose.
I graduated university in the Millennium Forum too, so I was on stage collecting my scroll. I would love to do stand up there. That would be like a.
I've performed there. It's amazing to perform there.
Well, I'm writing a show at the minute. I was telling you earlier on, and we're actually out of rehearsals today. It was some crack, and hopefully we had finished. But wouldn't it be I know others that holds 1,000 people? Wouldn't it be amazing if you could go on and do a show that filled that place? And that would be. I wouldn't go there first, but it would be. And then I would have that would be like a full. That would be fought here, graduated here, did a show here. You know what I mean? It'd be class.
I've seen Jurassic Park in the cinema beside the Millennium Forum.
How was that for you? It
was good.
We all
went far back. On the Millennium Forum. I walked past it.
I see Jurassic Park. We all drank in a place in Strabanter called Melbourne. We almost have been 15 or 16, and we all went to see Jurassic Park on a bus, drunk. I remember I actually was watching between that and Cliffhanger. I thought,
movie.
So I was running between the two shows, watching 10 minutes each, thinking I'll fill the fucking cinema. You know what I mean? I'll show them. And then I remember a couple of mates in the bare bellies walking up the middle aisle, them throwing up and all after, because we got rode off. We were drinking fucking Thunderbird wine and everything. One of the place.
What sort of movie did you create in your mind then between Cliffhanger and Jurassic Park the next morning? Telling people about it hungover. This dinosaur climbs a mountain. Oh, it's a brilliant.
Imagine you were fucking stoving drunk, right? And you go home and your ma's asking you, "So what was the film like?" "Oh, well, Sylvester Stallone, he was there, and then the big T-Rex busted through the fence and raced after him, and they had him a punch in the head, and then he dropped him down through the wire, and the helicopter came and saved him." Your ma's like,
"Hey, but sir,
Sylvester Stallone's on it."
Do you not remember before the internet, if you got a new, say you got the Karate Kid, it was just out in video, and you watched all the ads at the start, fucking Brian Dennehy and all, and you watch them, and then you go out to your mates and you pretended you watched them movies. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, tell me about it then. And you go through the whole ad as if you've seen it. Just to just to
Always
get
made you
bought up.
sound like you could afford more. How many movies did you rent the weekend? 3. How come you always rent 2 Brian Dennehy movies and then a really good movie? You're like, well, just to get
Do you
through.
want to know the first time I seen Rambo?
Yes.
It was on a pirate videotape in the Ballycoman, right? So in the Ballycoman, the stairs in the Ballycoman, obviously it said a flight of stairs. We had a mirror up right beside the flight of stairs. So if you sit on the right step, well, you probably know, right? If you sit on the right step, you can look through the mirror and watch the TV.
I love the same. I love the
I
exact same house.
know. So I watched Rambo through a TV, through a mirror, watching a pirate Rambo. I was
Back to front. Back to front.
Rambo's deadly, so it still would. I bet you it would still be amazing. Have you ever seen the Hulk Hogan movie
Rambo
that he made,
won.
where he's basically Rambo?
Rambo
It's like
holds a
Suburban
test of time.
Commando.
No, it's called like Deadly Weapon. It's Hulk Hogan versus the IRA. It's
Jesus.
the
What?
greatest movie. Have you ever seen that? Oh,
What
you
are
have to look it
called?
up. I think it's called Deadly. Something deadly. I can't remember. I'll link it up.
Oh,
But
Hulk
What
Hogan
was the one he was?
against
Hulk Hogan. He was in Rocky. Rocky 3 was he? Thunderlips.
Thunderlips.
the
Thunderlips and Rocky 3.
All
Brilliant.
right, stop. Did I miss something?
How have you? He's
I wanna
also in
hear about-
Gremlins.
Did you not know that Hulk Hogan was in Rocky?
No,
Rocky fought him.
I want to
man.
know about. There's a video about Hulk Hogan against the ARA.
Aye, it's
What are you
called.
on about?
It's definitely. It's called like Deadly Assassin or.
Brilliant.
I'm telling you. I'm just gonna Google now. Hulk Hogan versus the IRA.
That's fucking. What an idea for a fucking video. Hey?
Is it really the IRA?
I could just picture myself doing fucking Hulk Hogan against the
Jesus.
The Ultimate Weapon. It's called.
The ultimate weapon. I just googled it too.
It's called
I'm
Hardball
gonna watch
Cutter.
that.
What is it? Is it like a?
Man, can you even see the picture?
Is it a cartoon?
No, it's a movie where he like.
No.
You know,
It's
know what?
true. It actually is Hulk Hogan.
Do you know what actually reminded me about it, Duffy? There's a scene in it where he uses a mirror to like shoot like 5 guys, and I just pictured you watching Rambo and him beside you trying to shoot all the fellas. So you have it connected. You are
Did
the
you see the
ultimate weapon.
Jackie? There's a Jackie Chan movie on Netflix where he fights the rat.
The Foreigner.
The Foreigner.
When he fights
Brilliant.
the rat. Class.
Jackie Chan is what got me into martial arts. It's why this cock and ball looking thing exists. The Drunken Master. Do you remember Drunken Master?
What age
That
are
was
you
one
in?
of my first martial arts films I've seen too, Drunken Master.
What age are
Once
you
I
in?
saw it, I was like, I am sold. This is my life. This is what I'm going to do. What
Is
age am I
that-
now?
Aye.
36.
Right.
I'm only
So I'm a good bit older than you. You best.
38.
He's 43.
43.
Hey,
But
you look
see
about
what
40.
you're on about. What was the old Chinese? Jackie Chan was on it, and then what do you call that fat martial artist? Was
Sammo
that-
Hung.
There you go.
This is like a
boys.
weird quiz now. Keep going, me and Duffel. Fucking.
There was a third boy.
Yun Bio.
There you go.
He had the kicks.
Listen, I watched what do you call it, 3 times Game of Thrones, and I don't know anybody of the cast's name. That's where my brain is with names. I don't know any of their names.
One of my
what do you
students
call-
was.
Jon Snow's the only name, and I watched the 3 times. And it's one of the best shows I've ever watched, but it doesn't stay. So the boy, all I remember watching them 3, they were doing stunts like diving through broken windows. With
My Lucky
glass.
Star. They did. My Lucky Stars was one of the first ones they did, and there was a load of ones like that where they had like My Lucky Star. They were like a team. Sammo was like their older brother. They went to
and then
Sammo.
they started going on like animals and all.
All right, Animal Kung Fu. I went to
Aye,
a guy
what-
that claimed he knew Animal Kung Fu and all. He was full of shit. Took me about a month to work out that he was completely full of shit.
He's kind of like
People who-
Steven Seagal then.
Oh, he was worse. At least Seagal, like, look how long he lasted. This guy had 5 animals. First one was a snake. Second, tiger. Third was tiger and snake. That was when I went, that's not an animal. That's just the first 2 animals put together to make one. That's not how it works. And then he had no
Oh,
more.
you knew the theory.
No, I just knew that a snake is a snake and a tiger's a tiger, and a tiger and a snake is the same two animals. It should be 5. It should have been a panther, but like I know now, but not back then. I just thought that doesn't
You're
make any
confusing
sense.
me.
Hey,
You're
well,
confusing me.
he said he knew 5 animal forms.
You do the mind reading too, don't you?
I do bits of it. I
Are you
actually did
doing it
one
now?
over Zoom. Fuck, that was a nightmare. Trying to plan it. I'm used. Whenever I do it, I read the body language and I combine everything, the martial arts, everything together. And I've studied with Ben, who does Sherlock Holmes stuff. So like I watch everything. See when like you're saying about doing karate classes and like wee squares. Imagine trying to perform to wee tiny squares, and you're trying to like pick up on wee subtle cues and everything. It was difficult going like, but I don't even know now if you talked about doing the karate before we started recording or after. But we sort of got real distracted and went kung fu movies, which I love, so I'm delighted. So Strabanter, that's what you used to. That's why you're here.
We were on there. We did a podcast with Mickey Bartlett. I think it was her. We're lazy bastards, Liam.
I know. I watched them and then they just disappeared. I was like, you seemed so pumped for the first few. You were like, "We're gonna do it. It's gonna be great," and then.
See, but unless it's the time frame, and then it's just you know what? This last wee while we were going on holidays, and we were taking a break. But back to what you were saying. When Mickey come on, Mickey had a tattoo. He got a Karate Kid tattoo.
Mm.
You probably, if you did watch it, you know you were on it. What did you say? Did I?
I don't remember that, but
I thought Duffy said, did I?
No,
that was
Did he?
me.
Are you talking
Hello.
about Did he?
So I just went off on a tangent about 80s movies and martial arts and stuff. So that's the way it goes.
Well, that's like a lot of people will ask me, like whenever people sign up with me, client stuff, they'll go, "How come you always talk about martial arts?" I'm like, it's what I've done martial arts for longer than I haven't, and I incorporate it into everything I do. But I seem to just gravitate towards people who do it, like used to on this. Both are martial artists as well, so it just seems to be. It seems to be something that.
I'll ask you a question.
Go.
Do you know the way, right? So martial arts definitely helps you, but makes you feel more secure in yourself when you're in situations and socially and all that. It does help. But since I started doing stuff on stage and stand up and stuff, no, that sort of fear that you have to overcome, that's held me in better stead socially.
Yeah.
Than the martial arts has. So see, whenever you're on stage, because you told me when you're stage, you would bring on your martial arts comes on it.
Oh, it comes into everything. Even before I come on to even do a podcast where I'm seated and I'm just having a conversation, I'd be over on the other side of the room, like getting like real. I try to get myself back into a heightened zone for it, and I noticed
it's a non-natural situation. Like the last show you did, you opened for. I was on after you. It was a big show in Daly's, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Aye, and you were doing. I think you were doing magic yesterday, or you're.
Yeah. Normally, whenever I perform there, I do some sort of magic. That's what Daly's knows.
But the drunkest man in the bar come up to you. But you dealt with him, hey, and I was like, because he was up the sabotage.
Yeah, that a lot of people have asked me about that. I've seen it. I had to pick him because it was one weird crowd. That it wasn't my crowd. Like I didn't know half of them, so everybody's there for comedy, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Here's a magician." And normally, in my experience, when people hear, like I used to do nightclubs and weddings, when they hear "Here's a magician," normally they go, "Oh, he's gonna be shit."
Like I've heard more. You bring humor.
Aye, so that's what I was like. I need to bring someone on stage that I can take the hand out of, that the audience aren't going to turn on me for taking the hand out of him. So,
but see the thing about that's a big risk, because you're bringing up somebody that's not going to play ball. Like, see if you bring up somebody that's not drunk. You can sort of manipulate somebody, and especially even when I do the stand up and you're doing a wee bit of crowd work, you're winning because you have the mic, and they have unless they're stupid. You know what I mean?
Aye, it's their awkwardness. They just won't shut up. No, I think it does. Like it crosses into everything. So I bring it. It probably feels like to you like the stand up has helped you more socially, but. When you're doing stand-up, you're being more social in general anyway, so it's going to seem that way. And it's your new passion. It's what, like, you probably did stand up just as like you had strong into it, like you did the martial arts. You probably
Well, that's true when you think about it, because I would never probably have done stand up if I hadn't done martial arts.
aye,
Because when I did, especially when I did martial arts, see when MMA had a boom there, especially around my area, every show was packed out. Like you could have had 10 amateurs and one professional fight, and sold the tickets for £25 a go and bummed the place out.
yeah.
Like, it's the only other martial arts sport that would put on a show that isn't professional. No one else would pack a place out.
Aye,
People are
imagine trying to do
drinking.
that imagine if
People are
you two did a
drinking. They're
Strabanter
playing
live show, and you
to
were
do
like
the
20
music.
quid a ticket. People be like, "Get 20.
Uh,
I'm paying 20 quid just to see you two. Sure, just watch your video." But
exactly.
fighting,
So fighting in front of, if you do anything in front of a crowd,
yeah.
play a game of pool with a mate in front of 600 people, you beside yourself.
Oh, aye.
You
I've
know what I mean?
shied at pool too, so it would definitely.
So I'm telling you, that would have been what made probably helped me do the stand up. So you're probably right about how central martial arts is to all that.
You're bound to find it as well, Duffy, that because you said you're a black belt, like you've got to the point where everyone strives to get there, and then whenever you get there, like, if you're like myself, you realize this is actually when you start learning about the art and you become more knowledgeable about how it works and what it does. But do you find that no matter what people ask you to do, you just go, I'll give it a go?
Aye. Just to go back on what you're talking about too, as far as where I come from, my comedy, like I do the same as you, Liam, is that I think my martial arts is my foundation. It's my beginning point on
Yeah.
anything. It's where I actually learned the fundamentals of just being a human being. Like I'll probably get
Respect.
hammered. I'll probably get hammered for saying this, but mixed martial artists, you can train anybody to fight, but the foundation is within the martial art itself. Like jiu-jitsu, you're going to learn the physical movement, but mentality, you're not going to train. You know what I'm saying? There's a foundation. You're
Yeah.
going to learn like confidence, respect.
It's not about fighting.
Confidence.
Really, like
It's not
about
really. Your biggest opponent is yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're learning all these things. You can learn. I always tell my students, I can teach you how to punch, but I can help you how to think. You know what I'm saying? So so that's where my foundation comes from. Is that I learned confidence. I learned because I was a shy wee fella growing up in the Boyle. You've known me all my life. I was a shy wee fella growing up in the Ballycoman. I was, a head case in my own house. You know what I'm saying?
Aye.
But then whenever I got outside, I was very reserved.
So
and
was
then when I
I.
started doing, I grew up, my father was a boxer, so he wanted me to do boxing. So I started doing boxing first. And I wanted to use my legs because I seen Bruce Lee films. So I asked my father, is there anything that I can do? Because I didn't know karate existed. I didn't know that it was, I just thought it was films. You know, you're young, you don't know.
Yeah.
And my father started taking me. So that's where I got into karate, and then I started learning. And then the more I started doing karate and I started to come out of my box more, I started wandering further away from my house. Do you know what I'm saying? I got more comfortable. And now doing these videos for the Strabanter page, it does pure confidence. Because what I do is I'm almost a 40-year-old wearing a Batman mask, trying to be funny and like you used to do stand up. You used to go out there and perform in front of people. Out of 600 people standing watching you, 10 people's not going to like you, and then that's the 10 people's going to piss you off most. You could have a great night, and then you could like, Boyle, we do these videos, and we might get 100 people that might comment on them, say it's the best video I've ever seen. Then there's one person what will write to you, oh, that's the worst thing, and that's the one person that will, like, Jesus, do your head in. So it's kind of like, and then you have to look at it and say, all right.
Do you find that you get affected by? Do you get affected by the negative comments much? Because these are pretty big. Like, so your videos are getting a big reach. So
at the start we did. Now we kind of laugh at it. We joke about it, and like I'll look out for Ronan's. I'll watch Ronan for his comments because I know. And then I'll say to him, did you see the comment at such and such? And then so Ronan will do the same on me because I watch my videos, but I don't read the comments. And
Yeah.
I think Ronan does the same. I'll
And
comment on all Ronan's videos, and then
probably
Ronan will
helps that we're
comment on
both.
all mine. So it's kind of like we look out for each other in that way. Like nobody realizes that, but that's what we both do.
I think
he-
that's important to your, because again, like I chatted to this with Joel. He's a mate of mine's a magician. He's got 400, just short of 5 million followers on TikTok, and he just avoids the comments because you're gonna get like
Well,
the haters are so loud, like they just want attention, like. But I think the martial arts stands to me in that as well. That
it does.
like I get some amount of shit for what I do. Like whenever I did the Ninja Warrior thing, I got people. I did a Ninja Warrior, and then I did a free mental health event for anxiety and stress. And I had people, because Ninja Warrior just called me a magician. I had people actually like commenting to the paper and saying, "Why are you backing this guy? He's just a magician. He's going to manipulate people to feel better. He doesn't have any qualifications or skills." And I was like, even if I could manipulate them to feel better and they feel better, is that not still good?
Do you know the thing about it? We all know it all stems from like their own insecurities. That's a fact, because if somebody sees you doing something out of the ordinary, like it's that old one. If there was an Irish dancer in the Ballycummin estate, they would get dogs abuse for being an Irish dancer. But if he's doing river dance and he's the best dancer in the world, he's from the Ballycummin. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
Nobody likes to see what are you doing that? Do you know what I mean? And
until you're doing it well.
Kicked myself because I left myself. I don't know. I wasted a lot. My 20s was just a disgrace. My 20s was just on the rip and just being an idiot and not caring about. Well, I always had a wee bit of work ethic, but I was nuts. I didn't start doing things that I really wanted to do until late 20s. You know what I mean? I should have been fighting in my 20s. I did fight in my early. From the word go, about 40.
That's what I was about to say. You've been fighting long before your mid-20s.
In a cage.
I stopped, and then say about 15 to about 28, I was just drinking and just being, do you know what I mean? Lucky I met the wife I have today, or I don't know where would I ended up, but
that's beautiful.
A lot of trouble, a lot of things went on. It was just, but I was around in my late 20s. I did a lot of things. Went back to uni and got my degree and started youth work, and do you know what I mean? And settled down and married.
We kind of talked about that before. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, is because whenever I work with community groups and stuff, a lot of the kids in it would say, "Sure, I'm already 20. Like, what am I going to do? I can't go back to college." And like, yes, you can.
I was saying to somebody the last day, I says, I remember being in the training centre. I left school with no GCSEs or on. Like, I was one of these boys with a jotter rolled up in the back pocket and thought I was Jack the Lad near the end. I didn't school. I didn't learn well in school. I was not suited to learning in a classroom setting.
Me too.
That's the job I do actually now, is that I help people need one-to-one. They need different approaches. Do you know what I mean? Classroom setting, I switched off. My brain was in a complete different zone. And while people were learning, I just couldn't do it. So I more or less left in fourth year.
Yeah. I wasn't allowed in any classrooms apart from one from third year.
Why? Disruptive?
They used to tell me I was disruptive, but I used to always explain that me sitting quietly doing nothing is less disruptive than you shouting at me for doing nothing. That's more disruptive than what I was doing. Like, they shoot it, like, I just wasn't designed to be there at all. It's why, like, whenever I explain...
everybody's unique. You can't...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people learn by listening. Some people need to do things. They need to feel it, experience things. I can never... So, I went to the training centre, and that's where I ended up at the start. You know what I mean? And you're trained joinery, and I was shy at that.
I think, like, the whole... Whenever I went to school, Boyle, you probably know... You all probably know that... Like, we went to St. Coleman's in Strabanter, and after you get the, like, P7, and then you move into first year of school, what they did was they separated everybody. So they put people on, like, so it was 8A, 8B, 8C.
We were the same.
You know.
You knew how
so I was in 8F. So on that, so I knew that the people in 8A was the smart people, and it was obvious. So your mentality is like, I'm already not going to make it here. So I may
Well,
as
I,
well not
well,
really care. You know what I'm saying? So for me,
I went to the
my
same school.
mentality is that I knew that I
You're,
wasn't going to be a
you have,
doctor.
I
I
had,
wasn't going to be a
aye.
lawyer. I wasn't going to
Well,
be a
you did,
solicitor.
you were convinced. You
I
didn't,
knew. I just
like,
knew that
you're conditioned.
I was set for failure. So I
From
already started
school.
thinking about what I was smart because I knew that whatever I knew what I had to do to survive as the fact that construction.
Aye,
That's what.
Yeah.
So I started
But
working
that's
in
how,
construction very early, and it was
but
just
I
like,
believe that's how we're conditioned. Because our school was like Cecil Coleman's, everybody from first year knew they were leaving in fifth year. No, that was
Yeah.
just, it was a 5 year school. Now
Yeah.
my wee girl's in school and she knows it's 7 years.
Yeah.
It's not even within discussion. There is, now don't get me wrong, there is people that don't want to be academic and don't enjoy school and want to go down the trades. They can leave in fifth year. But back when there was very few went on the A levels, was there, Dolly? No, it was
nah,
like
not very
fifth year
We
many.
was the leaving time, like,
we didn't have it in St.
and that,
Pat's. We
yeah,
didn't
that
have A levels
conditioning.
either.
Like
We were in St. Pat's.
I remember doing jobs on my own work, working as youth worker, like, I'm feeling intimidated in the room because I didn't have a degree. I felt like I was imposter syndrome. I'm a fraud sitting here.
Yeah.
Then I got my degree, and it gave me the confidence just to sit there and go, nah, everybody's who they are, and nobody's more important than the next. But it's stupid that it took I found out that a degree's a pile of shit.
It
Do you know what
is.
I mean?
It
Like
is and it
I
isn't.
did a
It isn't.
module, I did a,
It is and it isn't because I think like I'm not saying nothing bad about going to university or colleges or nothing like that. There, it's just there's people out there that are the 8F people, me, people around me. That there's people that went
smart,
to
but
8A, they ended
it's not.
school, and then they went to university. When they went to university, they stayed in university for however long it took. Right? I moved to America. I completely adapted my whole life. I switched it up, and then I says, you know what, I'm not going to make it in Ireland, so I'll come over to America. I came over to America, started
What
working as a
age?
carpenter. I would come over here when I was 24. Some of the people was kind of they were still so by the time I moved over here, the people that went to university was coming out of university, and they only begun their new jobs on these big fancy jobs. A lot of them, I'm not saying nothing bad. I'm just saying that some of them are
That
still
see,
some of them are living in flats still.
but it's mad too.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like
At my age now, when I hear
I
22.
always thought that them type. I'm not, it's just the way.
Yeah.
I think it's the system themselves that made it. They bring people and
It's
then
different now, but
there's a whole like debt. Like
it's
over in
different.
America, it happens here in America too. Like that, there's people goes to colleges over here, and they rope up this. There's people over here like over 120 grand in debt just to become a nurse.
No,
So then, whenever they do become a nurse, right? And then they settle down, they buy a house, then they've got a house plus that debt. They accumulate all the they're working in their entire lives. They pay back this debt.
what are we on about?
So it's I don't know. I'm just talking about you might have, no, but I'm just saying like a lot of these people like set out their parents make these business decisions or career decisions for their kids, for their children. And
I
it's all
think
about
Well,
pride. It's about
if
pride, and
my
then
daughter,
the
see if
child
my daughter
itself
wants
doesn't
to
make
go,
that choice.
you
And
have
what
to
they do
pick a
is they
good degree,
accumulate
man.
all this life debt
You
because
have
the
to
parents
pick.
made a bad decision for them.
Aye,
Do you know what I'm
but you
saying?
have to. I hate. There's art. You can do art and all, and I love art and all there, but I think you're better picking a degree where there's work you're going to get out of it instead of
yeah.
picking something fancy and spend 4 years doing it, and then you need to live in London to fucking get a job. Do you know what I mean? I think
It's mad to think that at 16 you're supposed to know what you want to do with your life.
ah,
Like I was told at 16 I'd be in jail or the army. That was my two choices.
uh,
So
well, there you
that's
go. Now you're the cleanest man I know, and you're a civilist. But you
I
think about it, like because they
I
couldn't, they didn't, you weren't allowed to express, or
yeah.
your style of learning was completely different to everybody else's in the class, and because you're different, you're wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
remember
schools are
about
better now, I think.
I think they're
And
definitely getting there. Like for example, I was told like when we were talking about 6th and 7th year, I was told I would never be allowed back in the building. My last year of school was the first time there was going to be a 6th and 7th year, and one of the teachers said there will be a queue of teachers to stop you getting in. And about 6 years later, they hired me to work with the 6th and 7th years. So I ended up back there. I did 6-week courses on well-being, on Tai Chi,
There you
and
go.
everything. So you can't. I think we got into this by talking about how you can turn everything around anyway, and we get into that by the fact that because we're all martial artists,
Look at my window, sorry. Can you see that?
that's your. That's,
Stuck my moustache to the doorknob. Some prick.
what's the moustache for people who don't know why you've just casually said stuck my moustache to the door? Is that your instead of a mask you wear a wee moustache or
A
what's
guy,
the
a
crack
local
there?
gym lent me weights over the lockdown. I used them once. And
She can see it in you. Look at the size of you. You see it?
and
Beefcake.
when I left them back, I stuck a moustache in the mirror where everybody trains and I left a wee note saying, no, anybody who wants to look more manly when they're pumping the iron can put their face in front of this.
Since we get onto the moustache, what's your creative process? Like, how do you work together to create your videos, or do you just go off by yourselves, or what? How does that work?
Do you know the biggest sin in the world? That he doesn't live over here. You know what I mean? Because we've had a few viral videos that we've did while he's in his holidays. So he has to leave his holiday and come the one of our mad plans. We'd obviously planned for the weeks running up to it.
Yeah.
And have 3 hours to do whatever we do. Some of them shite on their hold, you know what I mean? And then some do, but they do really good. But I'm saying, imagine he was back and we were at it constantly.
Yeah.
You know, we would have, but don't get me wrong, we're doing well for what this is the honest truth. Like, and I've said it a few times. We were messers on Facebook, me and Anthony, and we have the same sort of sixth sense of humor, crack and banter. And I was getting to a stage where we were thinking maybe some people think we're too crude or we're not wise or whatever. So what we did was start a page. We actually didn't even want to associate it really much to it, so we called ourselves Strabanter and Robo's party page, trying to take our names out of it all together. Like. And we said, we'll mess in there as much as we want. It means we're not offending anybody on our friends list. And if anybody wants to come in and watch, it's up to them. So we did no promoting.
Yeah.
At all. And then, like, we actually put up the message, because we communicate every day through Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you couldn't go through our messages. It would take you a couple of years. You know what I mean? It's because it's daily contact. We actually didn't really talk to each other over the summer because we were taking a break.
I think that's the only time we respect each other, because any other time we're chatting every single day. We're like a married couple. I'll probably chat to Ronan more times than I chat to your own woman.
I took a holiday and we went to a caravan in Bundoran and the sun was shining. Next door is his brother.
You tried to get away from me there, haven't you?
It was more nothing. So what happened? It was about us too. And one of the things that Anthony said was, we're either going to be superstars or it's going to die on its own. Something like that. What was the quote? What was it he says?
Something like that.
You know what I mean?
Like that.
I think I seen that post. You had put a post up where you were talking, and it was the first conversation where you were like, "This is either going to be unreal or it's going to be fucking brutal."
Because you know, for a very long time, we were always going back and forth, and we would create posts, they banter between ourselves, or we would create posts. We would private message each other to get on somebody else. I've got friends, and Ronan has friends that were work colleagues as well, and their friends were also on Facebook. So we looked at Facebook as all right. People know me one way, but they don't know me that other way as well. And I'd rather keep my work relationship strictly work.
Yeah.
And then Ronan was the same, because he works with the Include Youth. He works with a lot of like young people. So it's kind of like
that was my big goal.
The way we were going on Facebook is kind of like, you know, we're not. I wouldn't say we would be the, you know, the people they look at and say, geez, I want to be like them too. We were just two headpieces, and and that's just the way we were anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
there was an element too, but I love a comedy. We love comedy, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. We always
have. I mean? So I was like, as long as it makes each other laugh. Like, we used to put out, it started off with Mad Lips, and Duffy did this wee Chinese boy that was looking for pineapple and juice and hot battered sausages, and it just went viral. And then I did one about a Slimming World one, that went viral. And we did, and it shows you about confidence. They see at the start, we would have private mailed them to each other. What do you think? We
Aye.
put it up. No nervous. Worried
Yeah.
about judgment. Now it's mad because we were worried what people thought about a cartoon we did with our voices in it. We were really worried. Then we took the big leap of putting ourselves on the videos. So that was like a big one. Then it was like you're getting super judged. So what we
What was the
decided
first video
to do
you
was,
did where you put you both on it?
I think it was to do with we live in the Ballycummon estate. We were talking about it earlier on. We grew up there, and Ballycummon's all hills, so there's a lot of walls and railings and fields, and so there's you could do stunts. We called them tasks, right?
Aye.
And it was famous in the Ballycummon. So we used to do tasks. I was absolutely terrible at them. I used to do the jumps and all, but it took me forever. I got abuse from everybody for it. You know, they jump off these massive walls and the people's gardens, you know what I mean? Plenty of
Yeah.
straight angles and whatever. Jumping, walking along railings that go up fucking 30 feet in the. Anyway,
You can still see the
was-
fear in you now when you
so-
talk about it.
there was some mad tasks, like, and then we started bantering to each other about who was the best at tasks. That was it. And then we did videos. So Duffy always had the Batman. The Batman was running before the page, like, and
Aye.
it was all over. I think Duff's was you were giving stick to your cousin or something.
No, my good friend Rory Campbell knows that I'm a huge fan of Superman, and if people don't know that, but actually a huge fan of Superman. The whole Batman character was me making fun out of Batman because his whole voice and just the mask, and he's not even a superhero; he's just a normal human being with a lot of money, and that's
Superman.
it. So
Fighting an alien.
my buddy Rory, he's a big Batman fan, and he knows that I'm a Superman fan. So whenever Batman versus Superman was coming out, I would send him a couple of wee private videos beforehand with me wearing, like, I would draw a mask, I would put it over my face and cut 2 eyeballs, and I would chat, where's the detonator? Where's the detonator? They go way back. And then on Facebook then, because me and Ronan had the whole banter thing going back and forth, there's a couple of people who was joined them too. So Rory was one of them people, and they would get on to me about because of the whole Dark Knight comic books and the cartoon that Batman beats Superman with Green Arrow. Goes back to that.
So was you giving stick about
It was me basically.
I
I started work one day and I said to myself, you know what I'll do? As I'll drive to the shop over here, I know they sell the Batman mask, the coils they call them. So I'll go over and buy one. I bought it for like $9. It wasn't even at $10. I bought it for $9. I came back to work, took my lunch break, and went up to the rooftop to put the mask over my head, and I'd done the whole video. I got like all the Strabanter seen it, and they laughed
Locally.
at it. It was shared around all locally, but I never said it to public or nothing like that. It was just friends only. You know the way you can set it to share, but just the friends. So the friends shared it. It was it was good banter video. And then there was a time then I went down to, I know you're aware of him, James Gallagher.
Yeah.
I went to see James Gallagher fight Chinzo Machida down in New York City. I put the mask on down there and I was walking around asking for
that was a cracker.
chippies for
Free food
live
on the
on
Batman.
Facebook.
Feed me.
For free food and blah blah blah. And then I think the one of the ones then I went live. I was down in Asda. I was on a shopping cart getting
But that was
Sean Mills,
James. Not on the page, no.
I don't think that was part of the page now. And then because we went back, because some of the stuff that I done I was way before the page, I think. And then
aye.
So I was just doing Batman stuff before the page, and then I just figured, you know what, that's the reason why. Part of that is the reason why, because I like putting on the Batman mask, and people thought it was funny. So I just figured, you know what,
The other thing is your face it suits it. The Batman, like you put the Batman mask on, and you completely change into
I'm like
somebody
Michael
else.
Keaton, man.
Yeah, but you don't look. You look different. Because all the focus is on mouth and nose, and you've got them big rubber lips and mouth and and eyes. But it's strange how
Do you turn into Batman when you do it? Like when you put it on,
because
I
close one eye and then I change my voice, and a lot of people give me stick because they think one eye is bigger than the other. I squint my eye. I actually squint my eye on purpose. I've got one eyebrow lower than the other eyebrow. I know that, but both eyes are the same size. But
it's a habit.
I actually close one eye just because I try to copy Popeye too, because I watched Popeye when I was growing up as well. So I kind of turned it onto my own. Because I always think Batman chats like an old farmer, like a pirate. So I done that video down in Asda, and then that went. That was one of them videos that if I'd have went on the Strabanter page, it probably would have went places. But I think Ronan got the video because I forgot that. Not that I forgot, but it was one of them videos where I posted it, but it was just friends only could share it. So it was never public. So then I don't know how you got it, Ronan, because I couldn't even find it myself.
I found it then, but
and then you chopped it all up because there's a lot of.
What happened then was that we were doing well, so we were doing well locally. Like I don't know if we're as popular locally now as we used to be, but it was a local thing. Do you know what I mean? And everybody loved it. All the stick we threw it was all about local people.
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore now because most of our following from outside Straban, if you know what I mean. So if you start chatting about we still take the hand of the local people, but it was all at the start. It was all Straban based. We didn't think it was going to go any further. Like I remember we went to 6,000 followers, and I said to him, "Holy fuck!"
Well, I remember 5,000. You know the thing too about the Straban base was the fact that a lot of the videos that we were posting at the very, very start was sent in to us by other people looking to have the one up on other people. So when we would post a video, a family member or a friend or somebody would send us an angry message saying, take that effing down, take that down, you shouldn't do that there. And that was like our fault. We were like, listen,
would have brought mental health
that was actually your husband that sent that video in, or it was your sister that sent that video in.
That's true. And that's why
we always have that code that if somebody sends it in and then somebody will write back this who sent in that video, we wouldn't tell them. We're not touts, like we wouldn't tell the other person who sent in the video. We would just say, listen, that was somebody close to you and that's it.
But why
we'll take it down, we'll respect it, we'll take it down.
You're right, but why did we started saying this, or like why do we need to listen to it? So that's how it essentially ended up with just me and him nearly on every post. Unless like people started thinking we're an advertising agency as well. We cut that short quick. Because
a lot of ones would write this saying, I'm starting this stuff now. Can you share that for me? And then a lot of the times too, like we try our best to help out. Mental health, and we've done a couple of videos for mental health and all that there. But then anytime we do a video that's just comedy, just for comedies, and somebody doesn't like it, they will send us a private message saying
use mental health
as an excuse to, or always for mental health, and then you post that video. It's like you can't win.
Liam, you've been at many comedy nights. Like you've been at a lot of the ones that I've even been on. You know what I mean? And you know your shit. Like if people are offended by stuff we do in the Strabanter, don't go near a comedy club.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the main problem is that people forget that they remember they're at a club, but they forget the comedy bit. Everything that you do and say on stage, you don't believe it 100%. Like you don't believe that there
you're
should
allowed
be
to shoot somebody in drama, but if you say it or joke about it, you're definitely what kind of fucking bastard are you? You know what I mean?
Or bad language.
So we moved. That's what happened. So we moved sort of subtly. Wasn't it? It was like subtle, wasn't it? Because we were all about letting people send in videos to show each other up. But then, because of the complaints, we just stopped doing them. Then
people took it a lot. Like if I went on Roland, if you went on the
DMs,
they do a stand-up comedy show, right? And there was one Spanish person in the audience, they'd probably get offended by the fact that you told a joke in English. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like there's always that one person that kind of that actually thinks that the joke is directed straight at them, and you were thinking about that individual at that particular time, and that's why you came up with that joke, and it's a direct insult to them.
This all ties into what Liam was saying earlier on about. How do you cope with the negativity? See the truth. I know I'm bigger than it, and I know the person that's saying it's probably an idiot. And if you knew him in real life, you go, "Why was I worried about that comment? Come from that."
I always ask people who are they?
But you still have a bit inside you when you read I'll give you an example. I did a wee video, and it was a joke, and the joke ended up with the Orange Man saying, "You don't need to leave Northern Ireland to have a good time. 2 words, Fort fucking Rush. And there was people underneath it going, that's free word, you turd. That's free word, you dopey bastard. No. And I'm thinking, I know it was.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's the
Deliberately.
point.
It's actually the joke.
That was the joke.
Aye.
So that's where you stand. So I reckon, like, we're starting to we're hardening the duffs. We're laughing like.
Absolutely. We're laughing. There's a lot of things we won't say. A lot of
Personal attacks. I still don't.
The personal attacks.
Well,
I do not. You will be blocked. You will be gone from the page. If somebody calls Ronan, and I've deleted people from the page because like I said, I monitor. I'm on the page every single day, whether I'm on holiday or not. Like I'm on the page and I do monitor comments as best I can because we have had stuff in the past where people has been insulting to starting arguments with each other about.
I funny video. Remember the last day? Remember?
A unique thing about our page is the fact that the admins actually I do go through his comments just to see what people say, and especially when he does the Orange Man video where it can we're just having a bit of crack and a lot of like. Before that Orange Man video was made, we both have input in it, and I've given my jokes. Whether he uses them or not, they're there. If they're there, they're there. If they're not, they're not. I'm fully aware of what's going on. So whatever he does and whatever I do, we both love him back him up, and he'll back me up too. So I both love him just as much as he protects mine. So I'll go down through the comments, and if somebody says something that's a personal attack on him, like as Ronan as an individual, I'll block them. And he's done the same to me. Somebody will come in and say
whenever you go through messages and you see it's like 5 messages blocked, and I'm saying to him, what the fuck was that about? I just blocked them. And they were getting stuck on the
I just don't even, because if they get stuck in, I get it. I understand. There's a lot of better people out there. Like,
I'll give you an example.
Have a better crack.
I'll give you an example.
Hey?
I'll give you an example. Billy Connolly, probably the best. Do you like Billy Connolly as a comedian?
Yeah.
Right. I think anybody that doesn't think he's funny is an arsehole, right? So not only is it funny, they put like 20 minutes of his best material on YouTube, and it had like 20 million likes, but it still had 16,000 dislikes. You know what I mean? And I'm going, and Joe Rogan did a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I listened to it when I was away in sunny Bundoran, but it was about these 2 guys that get people in death row that are innocent out.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's about freeing these guys that were innocent. And I'm looking, and I went to watch it on. I was listening to the pod, but I wanted to go and watch it, and see who was talking and stuff like that. And when I went to watch it, there was like, say, 1 million likes, but there was still like 12,000 dislikes. And I'm going, who dislikes 2 men that are wanting to get innocent people out of death row? Like, who doesn't like people like that? And it just shows you that no matter what you do, regardless of how, there's nobody actually that everybody likes. No, there's nobody.
No, I think if you try to make everyone like you, you're not going to deliver what you do. Like whenever I first started doing all this sort of stuff, and I just went as the prove it guy, and most of my clients were anxiety or depressive or suicidal. I reined myself way back. Like, and if you chat to Connor Keys, even he would always have said to me, like, he wouldn't watch my videos, he didn't like them. He's just like, it's not you, you're just saying what you think they need to hear. And that is what I was doing. And whenever, like, I think it was October last year, I deleted everything and started afresh. Everything except the podcast, because I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't, like, because then when if you came to me as a client, you might tell me this, like, I would have people coming to me with like breakups, and at the end of their story about their breakup, and they're sitting there and they've been drinking for weeks and they look like shit. And my first question would be, would you fucking date yourself? And they're like, what? That's not what you're supposed to be about. And I'm like,
because they're like, everybody blames what's going on around them.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at yourself and saying,
but even you're saying about the comedy,
that's a good thing about Julian, because things don't work. And that's a good sign. Try someone else.
I'm all about adapting.
It's all about failing. It's all about losing. It's all about knowing, right, I'll not do that again.
Yeah.
Let's try this. Like, if you don't, and this is a big one, and I was the worst. Like, if you'd asked me at 25 to stand in front of the camera and talk, that was the Mission Impossible. Stand-up comedy to me would have been like climbing Mount Everest when I was 25, even though inside of me I would have loved to do it. But
Yeah.
my biggest fear was getting judged for losing. You know,
Yeah.
losing's the best thing that ever happened to you. Losing's learning.
As long as you learn from it, like a lot of people will fail once and then
Well,
hide from
fear
that
then.
fear.
Well, more about the fear of losing.
Yeah, but
Fear.
I work with a
Don't
lot of
let
people
that.
that have the fear of success. Like
Uh,
they're so worried out, like what'll happen if I become real super successful. So like
what?
it happens everywhere. People, I remember working with a fighter and he wasn't taking title fights, and his coach rang me and was like, "Look, can you come and do the mindset stuff with him? I know you're good with mindset. You've worked with fighters before."
I
And when we
was
broke it,
you do me. Remember
that's right.
at the
I
very
before
start.
the that's
Uh,
right. I've done it with loads backstage. See, backstage and dailies, I've done covert hypnosis for relaxing people when I see them and their heart rate's going through the roof and they're fucking.
What's it? As the backstage of a comedy night the same as like a backstage of a fight night?
Well, apart from the action, apart from like people actually.
But I'm on about when you watch the fighter or the comedian getting
Oh,
ready.
yeah. What I realized when I started doing mindset work with.
Because I found that I've been in this is my claim to fame to the wins. I fought in 2 shows that Conor McGregor fought in, and I was in the red side. The way they worked it was you had the blue room and the red room, and I
Yeah.
was in the red room where Conor was getting ready. So
That was where all the real pros were.
and he was saying he was the best fighter in the world then, and I was looking at all the size of him, and I was in some shape. They would have been so you're confident. They would have
Yeah.
been. But
You're probably looking at McGregor saying, you know what?
you
He
wee
keeps
bat
on saying that. I'll put him on the blue side.
hey, until I watched them fight that night, and even when he came out, I thought, is he copying Anderson Silva? And then I started fighting, and it was amazing. And I was like, I'm just a brawler from the back street of Strabanter. he's a martial artist. But I'm saying backstage feels the exact same as comedy.
It's all the same. You're still going to put on a show. You should be getting buzzed. Like I could point out to you. I used to do it when we watched UFC. Would sit up after
How
work.
do you feel before you go on stage? Because I get her tight. It's all about controlling. It's all a mind type.
Yeah,
all,
I love being on
what's
stage, and the way I think of it is, like say when I'm on stage, I imagine that you could have stayed at home and watched any of the greatest magicians in the world do anything. You could have stayed at home and done that in the comfort of your own home, but you chose to come out and see me. So I'm privileged that the audience would do that, and then I'm going to deliver no matter where I am. I remember doing a talk in the Seagull Hotel, and it was all about mental health, and everybody talked about mental health, and it was like quite a low energy room because it was like a lot of people were talking about cancer and real hard subjects to talk about. And then I came on, I got a girl on stage and told her that if she could kick me in the head, she could go for it. And like, I just got the same sort of buzz that I get doing anywhere. And at the end of that talk, I have people coming up to me going, God, that was really exciting. And I really understand now how the mind works and everything because
I'm the opposite. I'm the other side. I'm like, you're saying you appreciate people that came to see you because they could have stayed at home and watched this boy and that boy.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is, instead of me sitting home and watching that boy, I'm going to go out and try and be that boy. Do you know what I mean? I want his buzz. I would rather be the doer than the watcher, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's two types of people, I think. There's the people that watch and they're comfortable and they're happy enough, and that's going to like there's a very small percentage that do the stuff that us boys do. Like
I think that like based on like what we're all talking about and what you were talking about fear, both of you were talking about fear. I was like, fear is inevitable. You know, you're going to get afraid. It's just natural. You're either going to be afraid or you're not going to be feared. But what's not, in my view, what's not natural is your reaction.
Yeah.
Your natural reaction, and for go a wee bit further, your natural reaction is to be negative and losing. The most unnatural is be positive from it. So fear is inevitable. So anytime that I get afraid,
it depends on what way.
Whenever I'm afraid, I'm thinking about my reaction. As am I going to react positive or am I going to react negative? So that's how I get like that's my thoughts whenever I get afraid. So
I think we're
whole-
designed to run away from things that could
getting
hurt
well
us. So the
fed there, or-
negativity comes in because of the fear of that. It could be you're afraid of failing. You're afraid of looking bad. So it's how you react to it. And for me, I want to be the guy that, like, whenever I first started out as a magician, there was a few other Irish magicians doing work, and I'd work at weddings, and people would say to me, I saw a magician once and he did this trick and it did this and this was really cool. And I would say, what was their name? I might know them. And they'd go, oh, don't know. I don't remember. But they remember the trick, but not the name. And I was like, nah. I want them to remember me.
How do you fucking learn magic? Like, everybody, did you start off sending away for one of them boxes?
I learned magic by...
You know what I mean?
Well, I learned magic just when I lived in London. So I was late to the party. I was living in London about 21. And Steve, one of the other instructors, put a 10p into a Diet Coke. And my inquisitive brain just went, I want to know how that was. And I got for 3 weeks, I got at him every time I saw him. Show me how to do a trick. Show me. And he gave me a deck of cards and he told me I had to run one card off the deck one at a time. And when I could do 52, he would teach me something. And most people would just go, oh, he's a wanker. Fuck that. Where my brain just went, right. And that's what I did. And I got it down.
Yes,
and then
How long did it take?
that for me, like
To
couple hours.
learn that?
A couple hours. Same as a Rubik's Cube. Whenever someone said to me, can
What?
you learn a Rubik's Cube? I know.
Was it you that Connor brought on the stage to do the Rubik's Cube?
When I
I watched
first-
that video. That's a while before I started comedy.
That was the rebuttal one. Whenever I started first learning Rubik's Cube as well, people were like, I've been trying it for years. And then I saw a guy do a routine with a cube. And I
There's
was
a
like,
technique, isn't there?
it's just an algorithm. It's just like anything. You can learn the steps. So it took me 20 minutes to learn how to do a Rubik's Cube. And now I can do it in less than if you hand me a Rubik's Cube, I can do it in less than a minute. But it's just, to me, it's just like the martial arts brain comes in and goes, there's just a pattern to that.
But as it's like muscle memory. It's like, see if I go and do pads in the boxing, I can just, like, straight up, the second round, you're back in action. Now, my body can't keep at it because I'm fucking not fit. I'm actually starting CrossFit, boys, next week. But
That's good.
muscle memory is a massive thing, and it comes back. You know,
Well,
if you're off,
yeah,
if you train,
there's
if you
two
train
different.
son,
There's, in my view, there's a couple of different ways you can look at solving a Rubik's Cube or playing a guitar. You could set somebody down and, like Liam there, right, can do a Rubik's Cube, and he'll do it in 20 minutes.
That's the first time I ever did it.
But then there's somebody else, right, that you could sit down, hand him a Rubik's Cube, and he'll never solve it for the rest of his life. But he'll sit down and try it for the rest of his life.
The first time you lifted a Rubik's Cube, you did it in 20 minutes.
I just watched a YouTube video.
That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say it's all about the interest level in that person.
It's the same as a game.
And they never want to. Somebody will get it in 20 minutes, and somebody will take forever to do it. As long as they keep on trying, they do that one particular thing. That's probably the most
same as a
important
PlayStation game. You get a PlayStation game,
but as long as you don't waste your time, you know what I mean. Not waste.
Yeah. I love how you guys will just talk over each other until somebody gives up. You just keeps it. Same as a PlayStation.
He's a talker. I'll just let him. Every podcast that we do, he does the chatting, and I just sit that because I like to listen, and then he'll do that, and then I just like to listen, and then whenever he stops for a breath, I'll talk, and he's gearing up, and then I'll make my wee point, and then let him go on ahead again. And then that's good because that's how I roll.
I do like. I agree with the PlayStation game. I used to play PlayStations when I was younger, but I was a wee angry child, so they kept getting broke mysteriously. But see, when I play one now, I am like, I feel like I'm in slow motion. Like my cousin plays them, and he'll tell me what to do, and he'll be like, hit X, and I'll be like, right.
You look.
I'm dead.
No, your thumb has to know. Your thumb has to know where X is. Tell me, have you any brothers?
I have one brother, Sean. He's the guy
close?
that comes on stage and kicks me in the bag or hits me with sledgehammers or whatever it is.
In the bag?
Tell me, did you ever play doubles against each other? Games?
Oh, he used... whenever we played games...
Every brother has a game in the story.
I used to enjoy sitting watching him play. And do you remember Driver when it came out for the PlayStation?
What a game when it came out.
But the last level was fucking impossible. The police could see through walls. Like nobody's ever completed
The
it.
first level was impossible to get your driving test.
I couldn't get the driving test, so Sean had to do it for me.
What a game.
Whenever, like, he used to do all the driving games and all the real hard bits of the game, and whenever he was having his first child, I got a phone call whenever his missus went into labour, and I had to drive up the road. So I'm doing about 80 miles an hour up the road to the hospital. Everyone's panicking, and he's panicking, and I'm driving, and I was able to turn to him and go, "Do you remember the good old days where you used to do all the driving?" It's like, this is real life driver now. I was like, finally come full circle around. But for me, I think PlayStation and games and stuff, like now you can actually make a career out of it. Like there's people that make, like, the gaming is one of the most funded sports in the world now. But
well, gaming now is making more money than music and movies combined.
Yeah,
that's mad. Think about that, like, because nothing was like growing up in the 80s and 90s. It was all music and all movies, and
Resident Evil.
Hey, and like musicians were making. They didn't have to do tours. They made their money off albums. Now nobody buys an album.
No.
That buys an album. You just
remember when you had to download that album? You'd start it at night. You'd leave the internet on all night and come back and hope you've got a song from LimeWire. Do you remember LimeWire?
I was always behind.
Everything is so convenient. That's not even funny. Nobody has to work for anything as far as information anymore. You just and that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You know,
nobody will go and watch if we put a YouTube video on our Strabanter page. Nobody will leave the Strabanter page to go and watch it on YouTube, and it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah,
nobody wants to load on. Like, so you're so like nobody wants to go on the links.
People like what they like. People just everything's so convenient now that they just want to be where they are.
People don't impressive. Then it's the attention span. As well, that's something that since me and Ronan's been running. I consider myself an amateur, still an amateur. We're both amateurs, right? And we're still learning the whole putting videos out to the internet, because we try to do most of the stuff ourselves. We reach out to our friends like Mark Lynch and Wes Devine. They help us. We're producing the big videos, right? And they help us out the best they can. But all the other stuff. So we used to do these videos for like the last 5 minutes, and then we come to realize that people don't watch his videos for any more than 3 minutes. 3 minutes as tops. So not everybody will watch a 3-minute video. So we try to. So all our people
stuff, actually turn off if they see 6.
If they see 6 minutes, they won't even bother watching it.
And
so 30 seconds. I put up a video today. I'm not, but it's done terrible. I'll leave it up there, but I think it's funny. Movie auditions.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff we love that people don't like. That me and him were in stitches at. I was in stitches at. The movie.
I think that's important, though. I think it's why. That's why you used to work, because, like you said there, the video did bad, but you're going to keep it up because you were loving it, and he's saying that he was in stitches. For me, that's what it should be about.
Listen, to me, and I know Ronan feels the same way. If one person laughs, because the motto of our page is a day without laughter is a day wasted. So if one person laughs, then it makes a difference. Yeah. That person that laughs at my one video or laughs at his one video, if they laugh, it's changed their day. Maybe they weren't having a good day.
We do get a lot of positive thank you, feeling really down today, you made our day. So it pushes us on. Like, we don't get paid for anything we do, and we put effort into it. Some are our own money, but we don't. We're putting a wee bit of merch out soon. But still,
I see some merch there. Give us another chest.
So the merch is
on the chest there, on the back too.
But it's class. We've Barry McGowan. We got him to design it. Local artist.
Barry McGowan. We've had Barry McGowan do a couple of things for our page. Fantastic artist, and we had him design. We wanted something unique for the Strabanter page, and we didn't want to chat on Messenger. We just wanted something just a unique for Strabanter. Like if you look at the logo, and I don't know if we're just the logo's all over the place, like the way we are. So it just says the Strabanter, but it's a cool logo.
He must have loved that. What he's want? We want a logo, but that matches our sporadicness. He's like,
that was
I need some
basically it.
information.
And then he
He's
drove
an
up a
artist,
couple-
but so
he's
artists
an
think they'll
artist, and
get
he's
through.
he's got the humor as well, because a lot of stuff he's got a good humor as well, so he knows our humor and he's got his own
Brilliant.
humor, and then he's got that imagination, so he designed this in a matter of hours. We were going back and forth and he was asking us our ideas, and we told him, and then he came back with that, and after he developed a couple. He wanted something with like a Batman. Remember the Batman design? He wrote Strabanter and a Batman, but then we thought DC would come after us for using their logo as Batman. So we were like, no, not that. And then we had one with the Batman mask and a mustache. And then we were still like
the New York Yankee. You know the New York Yankee hat?
Yeah.
I grew up loving that for some reason. I always wanted one, and I always thought they were the coolest looking thing. And then
Did you ever get one?
actually, because I was Project Children. I went to America twice, sent over during the
you went to
Troubles.
Philadelphia though?
6 weeks.
It's all coming out. That's why you
I
got involved, so you get sent to America. I'll get to America yet, youth
To
leader.
keep you out here when you're 12. Fucking hell. But no, but I went to a rich family and they bought me one. So they weren't. We're in Philadelphia. We're in New Jersey and Philadelphia, the two places I went. But I said they marry. I wanted something cool. The last one was decent. It was good. Don't get me wrong. The guy did it, but it was more childish looking or cartoony. Where we wanted something more.
It wasn't,
like at the end of the day, people have to wear it.
It wasn't a personal touch. It was more like it was already designed on a computer, and it was. I get it. I understand.
A
It was
font
more
too that we don't own. Do you know what I mean? So if anything,
Yeah. Definitely helps if you're getting anything designed for the people that know you. That's going to make a massive. Unless you know exactly what you want. Whenever you were in Philadelphia, did you run up the Rocky Stairs?
Of course I did.
Good.
I actually the last time I seen the Rocky Stairs, right? I was on a bus with an orange suit on with me heels and wrists handcuffed together.
You weren't doing any
I
running
remember
that day?
looking out and saying to the black guy beside me, "There's the Rocky Steps."
That seems like a story we should avoid delving into. But
we'll
save that one for the Strabanter page.
I'm actually trying to do 10 minutes on it.
Oh, brilliant. That
10
was what
minutes.
I wanted to ask, and then I forgot, and then you brought up Batman again. So I didn't know this, and probably a lot of people didn't know this. Definitely people that are watching this that have followed me won't know. But you didn't start. I thought you started Batman because you loved Batman.
No.
But so did you sort of just get stuck with Batman, or?
It was.
You
It was all. It was all.
said to me, you feel typecast.
I am typecasted now. I'm like just like I feel like Robert De Niro, that he always gets put into all these gangster films. Like I'm Batman. No, it's just like I said earlier on that myself and a very good friend of mine, we grew up together in the Ballycoman, Rory Campbell. We were going back and forth. He knows that I like Superman. Any one of my close friends, Ronan knows that. Any one of my close friends knows.
Everybody watching this now as well.
Everybody knows right now. I will know that I'm a huge Superman fan. I collect Superman. I'm a collector of Superman stuff. I love Christopher Reeve. Just a huge Superman fan. And then
the original Supermans.
Aye, the original. That's all the old cartoons.
Superman.
I've got two things to show you that are part of my collection that you definitely don't have one of them, and the other thing's pretty awesome. But I'll tell you at the end. I'll show you them at the end of the story.
I want to see that. Show me.
But just in general, I like to collect movie stuff from the 80s. A lot of my favorite movies is in the 80s. So you know what I'm saying. So it goes back. So Rory, my good friend Rory, knows that I'm a huge Superman fan. So he's Batman, and then we were going back and forth. Throughout our lives, he always went on about, that's always the one up, like Man United fans versus Liverpool fans. We won the league this many times. You know what I mean? It's he always has this one up. In my view, I was like, He didn't even kill Superman. It was just a stupid wee fight, and he needed the Green Arrow to help him.
No, but I love the part where you were saying like, "Fucking, I'm a fucking alien. You're just a human being. Who do you care?" Do you know what I mean? How can
Like-
Batman? How can Superman? Like he can what his powers compared to a human?
It's to me and to my view, right? It's all down to the writing. Now, realistically, logically, realistically, if Superman was a real, and this is a wild, stupid conversation chatting. Like,
I love talking
Oh,
about
but you're-
superheroes.
you're
Yeah.
up on
right.
something.
So realistically, right? If Superman was on planet Earth, if his spaceship landed down, right, and then he was raised by parents down in where, right, Smallville,
Claro.
right? If it's a real place, Cyan Mills, right? And then you have Batman, whose mother and father was murdered as a small child, and he grew like, so he's got this wealth from his father, right? The alien that survives from rays of the sun, and his mind, his intellect, because he came from a planet Krypton that has has spaceships that planet Earth do not have. Right, because their mind is so advanced. Do you know what I'm saying? Superman's mind will evolve because
What
that's
do you
how
get
far. I'm just trying to say that Superman would
fuck
beat
does
Batman in
Batman
any fight.
just-
Batman is just Batman will grow up and realistically
Die
be
horribly.
just grow up. He would not become a superhero because he's just a human being. No human being without any
That's my point.
chemically enhanced, like Hulk as a human being, but he got
The
chemically.
Hulk's the best.
Wolverine is a human being, but he got. But Superman is just a regular man running around in
Batman.
a Batman mask that's more
I would
uncomfortable
say-
because he's wearing a mask. I wear the mask and it's pushing into my face, and it
I actually-
kind of forces one of my eyeballs
Do
closed.
you not like Batman at all? Like, he's a
No,
ninja.
I like Batman, but to compare him with Superman is ridiculous. I hate comparisons. I like films like Freddy versus Jason, and I like Batman. I like the comparisons, but if you're gonna, you can either look at it in a real, like, really, Batman can beat Superman, really, like, it's all down to the writing.
Danger Mouse
Realistically,
or Mighty
no.
Mouse. You can. You can.
No, not.
They're both
They're both
cartoon-
Batman versus Spider-Man.
Right.
Aye.
They're both
Batman
cartoon
versus
characters.
Batman versus
Sure. Who did Superman
one-
fight? Who did Superman fight in Superman 1?
Lex Luthor.
Aye. He doesn't even have a fringe.
Listen, he didn't
what?
even punch
Aye. There you go.
Lex
And
Luthor.
nearly
He just
beat him.
fought his mind. But that's what I mean. Is Superman? No, but I'm not talking to you about Superman. Don't get me
Sure,
started.
Even
Batman's a genius.
the Batman costume, I
He's not a
actually got
genius,
asked.
though. Not in the mind of Superman, because Superman comes from a
Batman.
race of aliens that are so far ahead of human that they can send a spaceship
Right, Liam.
light
Right
years away to planet Earth.
This is nearly turning the Strabanter podcast.
Liam,
again.
does that make sense, though?
No, I fully agree, and I've
His
actually
mind
wore a
is so
full
far
Batman suit.
advanced.
I wore.
But if Superman had a chance, Superman is actually held back because his mindset is with the
I'm
planet.
watching some alien stuff at the minute, and I believe 100% there's aliens.
I actually wore a full Batman suit for Superheroes NI. I got friendly with them, made a few videos for them, and they asked me to do to be Batman for a day, and I went to this thing, and it was the first this is what I was going to ask you, but then you went in a mental rant with it.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
When I put the costume on, initially I was a guy in a costume, and then I stepped into the room, and these kids came running up, and the kids were like, "Batman!" And then I was like, "Fuck, I'm not a guy in a costume. I am actually Batman." And I refused to speak.
And enjoy it.
I loved it. It was just mad. It was like full costume. So I concur. Superman would just kill him. Like, he would just fly above him and laser beam him. I don't know how we got so deep into that, but I'm going to show you two things. What do you see?
Good. Ah, look at that.
Dirty dancing. I love
Can
it.
you read my mind?
It's a it's
Can you read my mind?
signed by Lewis. That you know where I
Hold
got
on,
this?
hold on, hold
Margaret
on,
Kidder,
hold on.
she was in London.
Hold on. Can you do the speech? Oh, please tell me, Duffy, you
No.
can do Lewis's lanes. Oh,
What, can you
You're
read my
above it.
mind?
do you know it?
I'm not, nah.
Ah, you do?
Yeah, he definitely does.
every
You know
time I see that part, I always think about the Naked Gun films.
Whatever.
What?
You've got what was it? It's got X-ray vision.
No, it wasn't. It was Hot Shots. Charlie Sheen does it.
Can you read my mind? And he
Can
lets
you
her
read
go
my
and all.
mind?
She falls for a bit. Anyway,
I didn't
Lewis
even
Lane.
meet her. That was a fan of mine when I had fans back in the day who knew that I just loved Superman and stuff and went and got me a signed thing. It says, like, my old logo was be your own hero, because I believed everyone could become their own hero. And it says all that on it. But this is the other one.
That's brilliant.
I
Where'd
can't
you
see
get
it.
that done?
Somebody
You
got it for me. No idea. Somewhere online.
bastard. Somebody
That's
said
brilliant,
that
Emma.
the
Look at the hairstyle and everything. Perfect.
fucking actually looks like you.
I know. My head looks a bit
Don't be sticking any pins in there or anything like that.
acupuncture to tidy myself up.
What do you call
Uh,
them fucking dummies that you?
Voodoo dolls.
Uh,
A voodoo doll of myself? No, that's not a good idea.
that's
Uh,
fucking
Right,
the ultimate.
I gotta round
self-harm,
this
eh?
up because I tried to aim for about 45 minutes and we're well over an hour. But I really enjoyed it. So,
Liam, that's that. Cunt.
you're pointing at him, but on my screen he's actually above you.
You're down there.
Fucking hell.
So I don't even think I introduced you or anything. So
Neither
I'll
you
do
did.
like an intro at the start. But if people are looking to find you, where's best to find you?
We're Strabanter on YouTube, Strabanter on Facebook, and then I've actually went on Twitter there the last couple of days, had a bit of crack. I put up a
Cool.
couple of our videos. It's not on the Strabanter, but I tried Strabanter on Twitter, nobody but. And then I just had my own page. I have a work page on Twitter and my own page. And then I put up a couple of ones that me and Duffy did a few months
Are you
back.
doing Instagram and Instagram Reels and all that
No,
stuff?
see,
Your
we're
stuff would
useless.
fit. That would fit in Instagram
I'm
Reels.
watching McCartney. McCartney's the genius.
Aye.
That man
love
knows how
McCartney
to.
stuff.
He's one of the best comedians I've worked with. I've shared the stage, I'd say 10 times with McCartney. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But I'm on about online too. He's brilliant
Aye.
at that.
Mm.
You know, he knows how to get the content out, and he's a bit of a genius, I think.
He is. Sure, do you ever see he can build computers and like
Uh,
mobile phones and all, so he's got the
and
intellect of
he
a
edits his
Superman.
own stuff and he videos his own stuff. And
He's brilliant. But that's what you have to do at the start. Like I do all of that on my own. All the videos I've ever done. Like I killed
What
5
editor do you
drones.
use?
Eh?
What editor do you use?
Camtasia. So I'm doing it at the minute. Or on my phone, if it's just a quick video, I'll use Keen Master and just get it all.
That's what I'm on. See,
they're all handy,
I would
but
say 70% of the videos you see in Strabanters Ken Master. And what do you use, stuff?
iMovie.
The one you
think
get
that-
free with a fucking computer. Do you do all your edit? Do you do your editing on your phone or computer?
My phone.
iMovie.
iMovie. Aye.
I think you have to
figure
learn.
out
I'm actually an expert at Ken Master now. Like,
aye.
I'm wherever I go now, everything's shit. Do you know what I mean? I tried to edit my last couple of Orange Man videos that flew out. I did on the phone because I tried it on the computer. I know how to manipulate a lot of stuff, mate. You know the crack about, like, see, even get the song. All I have to do is go to YouTube and screen record. Screen record the song.
That was me told you that.
That was what I was saying. How do you get songs on the videos? He told me it. And I went.
I
and did
thought
it.
you were going to say something really poignant here for people who are like, this is where the gold is. How do you make your videos?
I'm a dopey cunt. So once I got on the computer, I hadn't a clue what. No, I didn't have all the wee crafty tricks that you can do on the phone.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important to learn all that at the start. So then
Aye.
whenever you get bigger and you can like outsource all this stuff,
I want to do a
You,
course on editing. Definitely, I'm going to source that one out. Definitely
aye,
want to no, just from start to finish, like because when it's done right, it's class. Like we before we go, like one of our biggest things we ever did was the Ballycommon Games, and you're on about charities.
aye.
That one for mental health, we got about 6 grand, and then we usually do the Strabanter clause, so we give toys to families that kind of own, and we did
Down
the
for the
the Down
kids that go
syndrome
to Down syndrome.
Wednesday. You know, so we've done plenty of stuff for money,
Yeah.
but the Straban games too was Wes Devine did that, the Ballycommon games, sorry, and that was just us 2 hours running about the Ballycommon doing the games that we used to play, but doing them shite. And see when you see the proper editing,
I
like
love that you pretended that you did it shite on purpose. Oh, we played the games, but like we did it shite
we weren't
because it
we
was
weren't as
funnier.
good as we
Not
were
because
when
you
we were young
couldn't.
doing these
Ah,
tasks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He nearly broke about 9 fences when we did the Grand National. The Grand
I
National
actually, I
jumping
actually
jack.
did. I broke one fence.
Where
Remember
you jump over
the
the
last
fences.
fence? I
And I
broke the
caught
fence.
fuzz.
One, he got puffed out near the end. He was caught trying to open the gate on the side instead of jumping the fence. But
I know every time that I come home, because obviously I'm over in Boston now, like, but anytime I come home, the conversation will start as we're 100% doing a video, but we do want to do a video that's going to help a charity or something that needs
Yeah.
some sort of help at that time. We just thought uh, last year, whenever I came home, I think it was August was about that the kids going to Disneyland was probably the best charity, local charity.
we actually sang a song, The Perfect Day.
We
I
got
remember. I was good.
we changed the lyrics. We got all the song, the musicians. We actually texted everybody, and we got a good group of fellas down there, good group of musicians
The
down there.
best group of men, like these men are the boys that these are these type of guys, and everybody said it. People weren't shocked who showed up whenever they called for help. There was a lot of like we went to everybody and see the
Yeah.
guys that showed up. They're these type of guys who would show up to everything,
Mm.
Yeah.
and they're the most talented bunch of individuals. Hey, and they made it. If we had sang it ourselves, it would have been shit.
But that stands to use too as well. The fact that you make a call and people are there, like that stands to that you are there for the
well,
crack
and
and stuff,
then
but
I
you
think
are putting
that
out
we're
good stuff.
hoping too that the comment like we were there was even a discussion about should we like us having the name Strabanter holding us back a bit because it's keeping us as Straban. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're thinking should we change our name so we can get bigger? But we're both proud to be from Straban, like
Absolutely, it's our foundation.
and that's who we are. And we would be really annoyed if because I know I was chatting to get Rory Stories and all them boys, and I've seen them do live shows. Rory Stories is a different one. I was actually doing security, and I was doing security for him, and I was asking him questions because we were actually doing well. I actually did a wee video with Rory, but he was saying around about 50,000 followers, you lose people in your hometown start hating you, and we're
Oh,
at
aye.
60,000. We're at 60,000 now, like. So the last thing we would want is people locally they not like us because
That's the
all
whole
we do
point
is
of it.
all we do is promote Strabane.
Yeah.
Like
My
we
claim to
put
fame is my godfather's from Straban.
well there you go.
So there you go.
You know
There's
what I mean?
more
You know what I mean?
connection there.
But and Strabane is a funny place. Like there's people funnier than me and him that don't do
Absolutely.
videos. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I go out and see them on the weekends, and it's just comedy's not their thing, but they're just the funniest man you'll ever talk to. You know what I mean?
Aye, there's a couple
And
of my friends that I'm trying to coax on here as well that like help me throughout my journey, like Andy and stuff, and I'm like, you don't do it. I know you don't do it, but like, just come on and try it out for me. So
we're like that. So we're hoping that the town we would hit the town to turn their backs on us. No, and we haven't really. We've had a couple of what do you call them bots? People make it up.
Fake accounts,
aye,
trollers.
you're gonna get
Accounts
loads of bots, like especially at
and coming
60,000.
on and getting stuck in. And maybe that's somebody that's local, and you know it's local when no bit of lingo on the talk, but you don't let it get there. But I think, like I actually hadn't during COVID, I was hardly out, and I was starting to feel like that. We were like, getting sort of fed up. We did a lot of videos over COVID, the lockdown, and kept people going. But I was out in the town there last week, and the many people stopped to chat to me and waved at me and had the crack with me, just
Yeah.
proper straight back to realising why I do it. You know what I mean? They love it.
Aye.
But we'd hope we'd never know we'd never want to disrespect Straban. But we'd hate to see it getting to the stage.
You're not
where
going to
it
win every single person over. Like, there's going to be
No.
somebody somewhere that isn't impressed. But
Yeah.
you can tell from talking to you and from watching your videos and being on your page that Straban is the core of it all anyway. Like, that's it.
Yep.
Like, many times have you said Ballycoleman in this video alone?
Well, there's
like,
people
just-
learning about Straban that never heard about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, there's going to be people on this Googling what did they say? Trying to read your top Straban.
Is there people watching us live?
No,
Fuck.
like it will be live at some point.
Aye,
So people
but
will
I
see.
know
We've
you're
had
right.
we've some
You're
had
right.
some private message, and we actually had one today. And I won't say anybody's name. Like, obviously, private message is supposed to be private message unless we ask for permission to share anybody's stuff. But we got a private message today where somebody was watching one of our videos, and they're living over in England, and the person watching the video lives in England, obviously, but it was a wee young fella, probably 8 or 9, saying that he was from Ballycoleman. So that just goes to show you. It's
A
not
wee
the
boy in
first person,
Manchester
but
was
it
telling his
just goes
mates.
as far as today that
He
somebody
says,
was watching
aye.
one of our videos, and he says
If
that
Wayne sneaks on the internet to watch the Strabanter,
he sneaked on. He
Brilliant.
caught his wee boy watching the Strabanter page,
And his dad
watching
loves
us
the
on
crack, but
YouTube
if
on
he's-
the big screen TV.
I was saying,
We were going to
this
give him a
guy,
shout out today, but we
Aye,
decided not to.
what's his name? He goes, nah. If the man found out, I'd be dead. Keep it going, boys.
So I'll be
he's
very
the dead.
careful. I don't want to rat anybody out.
No,
like,
but you're right. Because if you think of the Trailer Park Boys, they chat about specific places, and you learn
Oh,
about
aye.
it. You're allowed
Yeah.
to learn about stuff like. People
Aye.
know
I
about
love
the
Trailer
Bay
Park
Up
Boys. It
Guy,
was
they know
brilliant.
about Ballycoleman, they know about, some way to put Straban on the map a wee bit, like.
Oh, aye, definitely. And sure, now once this podcast gets out as well, it'll go even further.
We hope so. Thanks for having us on, and Liam, it was good talking to you.
Thank
Let
you.
me
So
have
I'm
you
gonna.
on ours. Now I'm saying you fucking threatened us to be on yours. He did
Right, now,
witchcraft, people. I didn't want to do it. They did this voodoo, witchcraft, mind read, what
It's-
mind
So
what they do.
tomorrow you'll just wake up and go, "What did I say?"
I was
Uh,
actually going to work and I got hit in the side of the neck by a fucking ninja star, and there's a wee note on there that says tonight at 10 o'clock.
I was
Uh,
hitting the dick with there.
I just heard a.
What the fuck? And then I woke up.
I woke up and I was on this call.
But you did well for 2 people hypnotized into doing it. You have done well.
I suppose I.
No, I really appreciate you coming on, and I am assuming I'll get these back again because you are all doing great
bother.
stuff, and we'll be doing more. So
Absolutely,
thank you very much,
anytime.
and we will speak to you again.
Keep your positivity up, Liam. It's
Yeah,
more than
thanks
welcome.
very much. Thanks for having us on, man. And yeah, we'll definitely get you on our podcast too, man.
Cool. Thank you. Chat to you soon.
All right.
See you
All
after.
right.